wherever you've been. Come broken hearted, let rescue begin. Come find your mercy, O sinner, come kneel. Earth has no sorrow that heaven can't heal. Earth has no sorrow that heaven can't heal. So lay down your burdens, lay down your shame. All who are broken, lift up your face. Oh, wanderer, come home. You're not too far. So lay down your hurt, lay down your heart, come as you are. There's hope for the hopeless and all that who strayed. Come sit at the table, come taste the grace. There's rest in the weary, all that endures. Earth has no sorrows that heaven can cure. So lay down your burdens, lay down your shame. All who are broken, lift up your face. Oh, wanderer, come home. You're not too far. So lay down your hurt, lay down your heart, come as you are, come as you are, fall in His arms, come as you are. There's joy in the morning, oh sinner, be still. Earth has no sorrow that heaven can't heal. Earth has no sorrows that heaven can heal. So lay down your burdens, so lay down your shame. All who are broken, lift up your face. Oh, wanderer, come. You're not too far. So lay down your hurt, lay down your heart, come as you are. So lay down your heart, lay down your heart, come as you are. Come as you are.
What's up, y'all? My name is Yoon. I am the pastor of Grace English Ministries, or GEM for short, down in Atlanta, Georgia. Although my wife and I are in Georgia doing ministry now, we are New Yorkers at heart. We were born and raised there. We did all our schooling there. We met there. We got married there. Our ministry started there. We had our first daughter there. I'm rocking a shirt from our good friends at Pursuit NYC, and I just want to give a special shout out and thank you to AYC for inviting me to do this. AYC was such a significant part of my own spiritual development through serving and through building of kingdom relationship, and so it's really an honor to get to share on this platform today. This past year, guys, it has been a crazy one, from COVID-19 and all the different responses to it, the polarization of what it really was. How bad is it really? How should we respond to it? To this general quarantining where we can no longer go to school or go to work or even go to church or even meet our friends the way that we were all used to doing. And I think not just COVID-19, not just the quarantine, but from that place, as if we needed more, all this exposure to hate that is happening, currently with the Asian American, the AAPI community, but even before that with our Black brothers and sisters. To say that we've gone through a lot this past year is probably the biggest understatement of the century. And many, if not all of you, have probably felt the impact of this by now. The loneliness, the confusion. For some of us, it may be a little more aggressive than that. It might be, frustration, bitterness, anger, whatever it may be. For, others out there, it may be very passive and, disassociation and disconnection and all of these things that are coming out. And as I was processing the way that I see the general public reacting to everything that's happening, as I scroll down my Instagram feed, as I read the comments, whatever it is, I had to ask myself, man, what is going on? Why is there all of this rage, all of this negativity, all of this hate surfacing? And I kept coming back to the same conclusion, that the pressure of this past year, it didn't cause these reactions to appear out of nowhere. It merely surfaced what was already inside of us, what was already dormant, what was already sleeping within us. There's an idiom for what we've been experiencing this past year. It's called being put through the ringer. Right? And the imagery is of this old machine that people used to use before, the modern washing machine. And what people would do is they would wash their clothes and then they would put their clothes through something called the wringer. And they would do it in order to squeeze out all the soap, all the water, all the dirt and grime, hopefully squeeze out, right? All of these things from their clothes. And the idea was this: going through the wringer, it didn't add anything new. It simply squeezed out what was already inside. And so even the world understood that going through the wringer, going through difficult seasons, didn't suddenly make us react a certain way by creating new things. What it did was it really just surfaced what was already lying dormant within us. And so going through difficult seasons this past year, let's say, of 2020 and early 2021, it didn't suddenly make us lonely. It didn't suddenly make us confused or frustrated, angry, bitter, whatever it is. It merely surfaced what was already inside. But understanding this reality, it isn't supposed to be discouraging. It isn't supposed to be this report card of like, man, you are really bad at, being encouraging, or you are really bad at fighting for other people. You are really bad at XYZ. What it really is an alarm. It's a wake-up call that's supposed to snap us back to reality, to see and to deal with what's really happening inside of us. And so when I think of 2020, I think of how so many in the Christian circle call 2020 the year of vision, right? And in many ways, it was true, just not how we expected. Rather than the year of vision in terms of, the realizations of hopes and dreams and, all of these things being everything that we ever wanted and everything that we ever dreamt of and hoped for manifesting in our lives, but rather 2020, I believe, became the year where we were given the opportunity to see ourselves, to see the condition of America, to see the condition of the world more clearly, to see the condition even of the church more clearly than we ever have been able to before. In other words, to see in 2020. And so I believe that 2020 was the year where we got to see in 2020, where we got to see things as they are. And, to see the loneliness, to see the confusion, the frustration, the anger, the bitterness, disassociation, disconnection, all of these things that we might have been pushed, that might have been pushed down because we were too busy dealing with other things. I believe that 2020 was the year that they all finally came to the surface. And I think that those who see it, they understand, man, things are not okay. In fact, this series is called The Cure because something is clearly not right. And I believe that 2020 was the year of all years to be able to show us this truth. And so if 2020 was the year to see clearly, then I believe that 2021 would be wasted if we didn't make any adjustments based on what we see. And here's the thing, the world is going to try and offer you solutions. And some of these solutions are actually going to be beneficial in the short term. They're going to tell you to try therapy. They're going to tell you to try counseling. And to be honest, those things are very helpful. If you need help processing those things, therapy and counseling are very healthy ways to do it. And yet the world is also going to offer you solutions that are clearly detrimental to society, like blaming other people, like fighting, like just letting your hatred out unfiltered. But at the end of the day, whether it's good solutions or bad solutions, none of the solutions that the world offers us is actually going to last. And as Christians, we believe in a more permanent solution. And as I was, meditating on what to share, I was reminded of Jeremiah chapter 17, verses 7 through 10, and this is what it says: "But blessed are those who trust in the Lord and have made the Lord their hope and confidence. They are like trees planted along a riverbank, which roots that reach deep into the water. Such trees are not bothered by the heat or worried by long months of drought. Their leaves stay green and they never stop producing fruit. The human heart is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is? But I, the Lord, search all hearts and examine secret motives. I give all people their due rewards according to what their actions deserve." And the context of this, while God's people were in the middle of a very, very dark season, while they were walking in direct disobedience and rebellion against God, when they were just trying to be like all the other nations around them, when they were being shaken by the circumstances around them, unsure of if God really sees them, unsure of if God really hears them, God's word for his people through the prophet Jeremiah is this: trust me. Trust me. More than what you see, more than what you feel, maybe even more than what you know, trust me because I know you best, even better than you know yourself. And I know that nothing else will sustain you in both the good seasons and the difficult ones than relationship with me. And, out of this, I just want to quickly summarize and offer some practical applications. The fact that we need a cure means that something is wrong. The fact that you're tuning into something called the cure means that you must agree, at least to some degree. People don't look for a cure when nothing is wrong. And this past year has shown us exactly what we need a cure from. It's ourselves. It's the sin nature that's already inside of us. It's our hatred. It's our blaming of others. Our ability to see problems and yet not wanting to be the solution. It's our ability to understand that we need change and yet being so infatuated with the idea of change without really actually changing anything because that's inconvenient or that's uncomfortable. More than anything, it's our inability to sustain ourselves. I believe that's what we're beginning to see through the hardships and being put through the ringer of 2020. And so I just want to encourage you to follow 3 simple steps in identifying and dealing with these things. Practical step number 1 is exactly that. Identify. Ask yourself, what are the things that this past year has surfaced for me? Is it anger? Is it bitterness? Is it hatred? Is it mistrust? Is it disassociation and disconnection? Whatever it is, begin to ask yourself, what are these things? And more importantly, why are they surfacing? And once you get a diagnosis, you need to begin to treat the issue. And so step 2 is implement. Implement the cure. What am I going to do about the things that are surfacing? How do I trust God more in the midst of all that's happening in the world? How do I get closer to something that is consistent, something that is constant, that will not be shaken, will not be surprised by the circumstances? And lastly, invite. I encourage you, man, if so many people, they don't do this step, and the first 2 steps are just great ideas that never come into fruition. Step number 3, invite. Who can help keep me accountable in this process? Don't just think about it, act. Shoot that friend, that pastor, that parent. Maybe that's wishful thinking. Shoot that person a text. Hey, I'm dealing with these things. I'm beginning to identify the things that are surfacing in my life. I want to do something about it. Here's what I want to do. Will you help me stay accountable? Will you help me implement these things? I want to invite you into the process of growing as an individual, but also growing in my own trust in the Lord. And I just want to close with this one last encouragement. In it all, lean on God. And I don't mean just religious exercises that you're familiar with. I mean, engage God for who He really is. A Father who loves you, who cares for you, and who cares for others more than you know. The God who knows the end from the beginning, the God who is never surprised by circumstances, the God who promises you that He will never let you endure something that you can't bear, the God who promises you, man, that if you are in my word, if you are in relationship with me, you will begin to see the things that need a cure, and I will be the cure for it. And so, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for having me. God bless you guys. I love you guys. Praying for you guys. Peace.